Breaking news, moment by moment, folks, we are hitting new session lows. I need you to look at the S&P 500. When we started the program 28 minutes ago, we were down about 50 points, and now we're down 60. So we're watching this very closely. There's an acceleration to the downside at the moment. Who knows exactly which piece of the very ugly puzzle today is affecting, but there are concerns about trade. That's kind of taken actually a backseat. Big concerns about the Federal Reserve on Wednesday. What about a government shutdown? And of course, healthcare is tanking on the news that a Texas court had said that the Affordable Care Act is unconstitutional. So right now the Dow is down 539 points. And to this, exactly 1 year ago today, Bitcoin, the world's most valuable cryptocurrency, reached a record high of $19,783 per coin. Fast forward to this afternoon, and it stands at just a seventh of that. It is up $325, though, to $3,535, having lost more than 16,000 of its lofty value. But wait. The White House has just tapped a pro-Bitcoin acting chief of staff. Yes, Mick Mulvaney has long praised the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, saying it's good because, he says, it can't be manipulated by any government. We'll tell that to the Securities and Exchange Commission, who's been disinclined to approve Bitcoin funds and ETFs until the digital currency is proven totally secure. So we said, time for a bull-bear debate on this anniversary. Our bull is CoinList co-founder and president Andy Bromberg, and our Bitcoin bear, author of The Real Crash, Euro-Pacific Capital CEO Peter Schiff. Andy, to you first. Why, when attempts to make crypto mainstream through the creation of funds are swatted down every day by regulators, and there's even a DOJ criminal probe into price manipulation, why do you still see the bright side of Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's a great question, Liz. I think what we have to remember here is that this is an incredibly young industry. Bitcoin was created only 10 years ago, and if you compare that to traditional markets that have been around for centuries, there's a lot of work we have to do to regulate these markets. The SEC has said that the markets are not developed enough, not regulated enough, there's not enough transparency, and that is something that the top companies are working on, but we're just not there yet. And so we're excited because the fundamentals are still there. The technology that has been created, this blockchain that enables a distributed set of people to create consensus and power a new generation of financial instruments, that's still there.
So you're not concerned about it having been at 19,000 and in just a year it's now at 3,000?
It's easy to find digs at technologies that are new. But what we're seeing is that in these past 10 years, there have been 4 or 5 times when Bitcoin's retraced 80 or 90% of its value. And that's the nature of a cyclical early stage market. We expect that to even out as time continues, but for the time being, we have to expect big booms and big busts in such an early industry.
Peter Schiff, you've been pretty much a bear and a hater on Bitcoin since it was, $100. Why are you still at that point when it's certainly well above that original price?
Well, bubbles can get very large, as a lot of people are about to find out. That's one thing that stock market investors have in common with Bitcoin hodlers is they refuse to admit that the bull market is over. Look, Bitcoin may be young, but it's going to have a very short life because the problem is the underlying premise is flawed. Bitcoin will never be money. It doesn't have the characteristics that would qualify it as money. It's just a speculative asset that has no real underlying value. It will never be a store of value because it has no value to store. And, sure, it went up to 20,000. In fact, it's up about 10% today. Maybe some people are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the high by thinking it's also going to be the low.
But Peter, I think this is a false premise here. I think that we don't say, those of us in the industry, a lot of us do not say Bitcoin is money. Bitcoin is a store of value, actually a lot like gold. I don't think you should use Bitcoin to go to the corner store and buy muffins or bananas or anything like that. Bitcoin is meant to be a store of value. There are other assets in the cryptocurrency space that can be means of exchange, but that is not what Bitcoin is built for.
What value does Bitcoin have? Why is it worth $20,000 a coin or $2,000 a coin or $2 a coin?
I think markets,
what can I do with a Bitcoin?
Price commodities, and same as gold. Gold's value does not come from it being used in practical applications. Gold's value comes from where the market values it, again, as a store of value, and Bitcoin is the exact same thing.
What is the next 10 years?
Peter, that's wrong.
Peter, what are the next 10 years of Bitcoin to look like since we've got the last 10 years in the rearview mirror?
I doubt it has another 10 years. No one's going to talk about it 10 years from now. But I think over the next year, a lot more air is going to come out of the bubble because this is just nonsense to say that commodities have no value. They have a use. There are things that you can do. That's why commodities have value, because they deliver an underlying use. Gold has use. Oil has use. Wheat has use. Bitcoin has no use. It's purely a speculative asset. The people that are holding on are completely delusional. This thing is going a lot lower.
Andy, last next 10 years of Bitcoin?
I think the next 10 years of Bitcoin, and more broadly, the next 10 years of the cryptocurrency space, will involve finding those use cases, the space professionalizing and consumerizing, us seeing institutional capital, institutional users entering into the space. At the same time, the consumers start to be able to use these. Again, it's an early product. There's a long way to go, but there are a lot of smart people working very hard in this industry.
Peter, Andy, let's come back. I want to come back maybe halfway through next year, hopefully before then, and we can see the path and the trajectory of this. Thanks so much, Peter Schiff and Andy Bromberg.